You know, once in a great while, television provides a scene that we'll always remember. I think such a moment was the reaction of owner Francis Genter and trainer Carl Nafsker to Unbridled's victory in the Kentucky Derby 2 weeks ago today, remember? Well, sometime after the race, trainer Nafsker returned to Churchill Downs.
Well, this is a place. It's quieter now, but it'll always be a very special place for Ms. Genter and myself, and it'll always be a moment I'll always remember.
They're taking the lead! They're taking the lead! They're taking the lead!
It was unlikely that these two would ever meet. Carl started out as a championship bull rider on the pro rodeo circuit. We saw him on ABC's Wide World of Sports a long time ago.
I always wanted to be a rodeo cowboy. My heroes have always been cowboys. I had a wonderful career as a cowboy. When I left there, I loved racing. I don't think you can describe working for a lady like Miss Genter in any words. She is just a lovely lady.
Mrs. Genter, she was born a long time ago, 2 years before this century began, when the horse was king. She was actually afraid of horses as a child. To her, it was just something that plowed fields and towed automobiles. While Hitler ran it on in Germany, Mrs. Genter got into racing with her first husband, who pioneered manufacturing of the pop-up toaster. They had many successes together, and she remembers them well.
One was winning the Santa Anita Derby in California, rough and tumble. And another was My Dear Girl, was a champion, 2-year-old, 1 year. And Smile, winning the Breeders' Cup, Tapiano. So those have all been big thrills, of course. But the one last Saturday was the top. Never forget it as long as I live.
It took so long, and so many things had happened. Moving to Minneapolis as a high school freshman, college at the University of Minnesota, marriage, children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. A full life by any description. Then the death of her husband, and later a second marriage when well into her 80s to a man she had dated in college, a man who still plays golf at age 93.
I've had to give up a lot of things because eyes and ears. But otherwise, I've been fortunate, you know. I feel old.
The farm girl born in Wyalusing, PA, still has never ridden a horse in her life, but she reads the daily racing form every day, and these days is busy answering fan mail. She thinks her love of horses keeps her going.
I suppose it's the interest that I have in these horses. Keeps me going, maybe. I really think so. That's why I feel very fortunate.
Leaving Churchill, it'll always be different when I come back. It'll never be the same as it used to be. I told Ms. Genter, I'll call the race to you. I'll let you know where we're at.
You called it just beautifully, I guess just like a pro.
He's the winner! He's the winner! He's the winner! Kentucky Derby. Oh, Miss Genter, I love you. Oh.
Well, Mrs. Genter isn't here today. As we take another look at Unbridled, she's watching in her home in Minneapolis. We would have liked to have had a camera with her, but she said, oh no, at the Derby it was wonderful. But if I did that again, people would think I was showing off. We wouldn't, but it's wonderful that you're watching, Mrs. G.